Elliot Reagan's body cam was found 73 hours after Metro Transit reported him missing from Millbrook Station. What it captured explains why 3 investigators quit the case without filing reports. Before you hear this, check if you're alone. Because what happened to Elliot might already be happening to you. This is what was recorded. December 19th, 2024, 11:43 p.m. Rain hammered the station platform like bullets on tin. Body cam timestamp shows I was running 3 minutes late, unusual for me. Been conducting the 11:30 express for Metro Transit since my divorce went through. 3rd winter on graveyard shift. Pays $47,000 annually. Keeps me away from empty apartments and ringing phones I won't answer. The route's simple, downtown terminal to Millbrook Station. 43 minutes of track cutting through suburbs that died when Millbrook Manufacturing closed in 2019. Most nights, maybe 6 passengers total. Shift workers, insomniacs, people running from something. But tonight felt heavier, like the air before lightning strikes. Body cam shows hydraulic brakes hissing steam. Platform lights flicker in irregular patterns, 11 seconds on, 3 seconds off. Always the same sequence. Standard crowd boarding. Hospital orderly still in scrubs, badge reads St. Mary's ICU. 2 college kids sharing earbuds, listening to something that made them look nervous. Elderly man clutching a thermos that smelled like whiskey and regret. But she was there too. Same woman who'd been riding my train every night for exactly 14 days. I'd been counting. Long black coat, hood pulled low over features I couldn't quite focus on. Never spoke to anyone. Never looked up from whatever she was reading, though the body cam never captured any book in her hands. She always boarded at downtown. Always got off at Millbrook. Always alone. All aboard, I announced, but my voice cracked. Heart rate monitor shows 94 BPM, elevated for no apparent reason. The rain had soaked through my uniform, and those platform lights kept flickering. 11 seconds. 3 seconds. 11. 3. Like a countdown. Audio enhancement reveals faint whispering beneath the rain. Words unclear, but rhythm matches the light pattern. The doors closed. I settled into the conductor's booth, watching passenger cars through the security monitor. GPS shows we're moving, but something felt stationary, like we weren't progressing forward, just cycling through the same moments. The woman in the black coat sat perfectly still in rear car, seat 4 billions. Same seat as always. Her reflection in the rain-streaked window looked wrong. Not mirror wrong, but like the glass was showing me something from a different time, or different place. We rolled through Oakview Station, empty platform, security camera, timestamp, 12:07 a.m., but my watch showed 11:57 p.m. 10-minute discrepancy I couldn't explain. That's when I noticed something else. The other passengers, the orderly, the students, the old man, they weren't moving, not breathing, not blinking. Frozen like figures in a photograph. Only the woman in 4 billions moved, and she was looking directly at my security camera. Next stop, Millbrook Station, I announced over the intercom, but my voice sounded distant, echoey. End of the line. Heart rate spikes to 127 BPM. Body temperature drops 3.2 degrees Fahrenheit. The train lurched to a halt. Through the platform windows, I could see shapes moving in the shadows beyond the station lights. Multiple figures, all wearing identical black coats, all perfectly still except for their heads, which turned in unison toward the train. The doors opened with their pneumatic wheeze. Cold air rushed in, carrying scents of wet concrete and something organic, something that had been dead for a long time. The passengers didn't move, couldn't move, because they weren't real, but the woman in 4 billions stood slowly. For the first time in 2 weeks, she turned toward my booth. Her hood fell back, revealing a face that shifted like water, features I couldn't hold in my vision. She walked to the exit, paused, looked directly at me through the security camera. Her mouth moved. No sound through the speakers, but I could read her lips. Follow me home, Elliot. She knew my name. I'd never told her my name. Body cam shows timestamp glitching, 12:47 a.m., 11:23 p.m., 25:9. 1 p.m. Error. I should have radioed dispatch. Should have completed my end-of-shift routine. Should have driven to my studio apartment and pretended this was just another night. Instead, I found myself stepping onto the platform at the timestamp was corrupted. My watch had stopped at 11:47 p.m. Millbrook Station hadn't seen renovation since 1987. Cracked concrete bleeding rust stains from overhead fixtures, weeds pushing through foundation gaps like arthritic fingers. The rain had stopped, but everything still dripped with suburban decay. The woman was walking toward the station exit. Her footsteps echoed wrong, too sharp, too rhythmic, like she was walking on hollow ground, or walking on bones. Audio analysis shows footsteps at 47 decibels, but body cam records no visual foot movement. I followed at 20-meter distance, my radio crackling with static. Unit 47, please respond. Elliot, you copy? The static formed words. He's already dead, Margaret. Let him go. I switched it off. She led me down Millbrook Avenue, past abandoned storefronts with soap-scrawled windows, past dark houses where porch lights flickered in that same pattern. 11 seconds on, 3 seconds off. The asphalt was wet and cracked, reflecting everything in jagged fragments that moved independently of their sources. 3 blocks from the station, she turned left onto Cemetery Road. My chest seized, sharp pain down my left arm. Heart rate monitor shows sudden spike to 164 BPM, then dropped to 23 BPM, then error readings. Cemetery Road was a dead end. Led to Millbrook Memorial Gardens, oldest graveyard in the county. Founded 1892. Most plots from the Spanish flu pandemic. I'd driven past it hundreds of times, never paid attention. But now I could see lights moving between the headstones. Not flashlight beams, something cold and blue, moving in patterns that hurt to watch. The woman walked through the cemetery gates. Iron hinges didn't creak, didn't make any sound at all, as if the metal had forgotten how to exist in the physical world. Body cam shows gate swinging open, but thermal imaging shows no temperature change where her hands should be. I hesitated at the entrance. My phone buzzed. Text from unknown number. Row 12. Plot 247. You're late. I hadn't given anyone my number. Hell, the phone had been in my locker during shift. Still was, according to GPS tracking. So what was buzzing in my pocket? I looked down. Nothing there, but the sensation of vibrating continued against my leg. Phantom notification from a phantom device. The woman was already deep in the cemetery, moving between graves like she knew every stone, every name, every date of death. The blue lights followed her, orbiting her path like electronic fireflies. Against every survival instinct, I followed her into the graveyard. Row 12 was near the back, where newer sections met the original burial ground. Headstones here were elaborate, angels with broken wings, carved flowers worn smooth by decades of weather. Dates going back over a century. Plot 247 was different. Fresh dirt. No headstone yet, just a temporary metal marker stuck in soggy earth. The kind they use when someone's recently buried, waiting for the permanent monument. I knelt, brushing mud from the nameplate with hands that felt increasingly numb. The name made reality fracture. Elliot James Reagan. Born March 15, 1987. Died December 19, 2024. Time of death, 11:47 p.m. Today's date. My name, my birth date, and 11:47 p.m., exactly when my watch had stopped. That's impossible, I whispered, but the words came out hollow, empty, like sound traveling through a dead person's throat. Heart rate monitor shows flatline for 14 seconds, then resumes normal rhythm. The woman in the black coat was standing behind me. I could smell her now, not decay, but something, the absence of life, the space where warmth used to be. I turned slowly, body cam recording everything. She was holding something, a conductor's cap. My conductor's cap, the one I'd been wearing all night. But I was still wearing mine. Wasn't I? I reached up to touch my head. Nothing. No cap. No hair. No scalp. Just cold air where the top of my skull should be. How long have you been riding my train? I asked. My voice sounded like audio played backwards through water. She smiled, or the space around her mouth rearranged itself into something resembling a smile. Since the accident, Elliot. Since you died. I'm not dead. I'm recording this. I'm talking to you. Body cam timestamp shows. Recording error. Subject deceased. December 19th, 11:47 p.m. Millbrook Station. Massive cardiac event in the conductor's booth. You were dead before the train finished braking. The world tilted. I remembered the chest pain earlier, the shortness of breath, the dizzy spells I'd attributed to stress and coffee, the sharp pain down my left arm that I'd ignored because the train had to run on schedule. The passengers called for help. Paramedics arrived 12 minutes later. But you'd been gone for 26 minutes by then. I looked at my hands. In the cemetery's blue shifting light, they were translucent. I could see the headstones through my palms, could see the graves through my body. Every night since then, you've been conducting the same route, same passengers, same time. The hospital orderly? He died of COVID in 2021. The students? Car accident 2019. The old man? Liver failure 2022. But they seemed so real. Death makes passengers of us all. The train doesn't stop running just because the conductor dies. Body cam shows cemetery, but thermal imaging reveals no heat signature from subject. She gestured toward my grave. This is your final stop, Elliot. You've been avoiding it for 2 weeks. What happens if I get in? You rest. The pain stops. The loop ends. And if I don't? You keep conducting the death train until the rails rust away, until the stations crumble, until reality forgets there was ever a route to run. I could hear it now, the distant whistle of the 11:30 express. But when I looked toward the station, the train was gone. Had always been gone. Just empty tracks stretching into darkness. What's your name? I asked her. For a moment, her features solidified. She looked like someone I should have recognized. Middle-aged, kind eyes, wearing a conductor's uniform identical to mine. Margaret Collins, worked the downtown to Harbor Road for 37 years. Died of a stroke, 1994, at Millbrook Station, just like you. How long have you been doing this? Long enough to know that everyone deserves to reach their destination. The grave wasn't punishment. It was arrival. I sat on the edge of the plot, legs dangling into darkness that felt warm. Welcoming, like sinking into bed after the longest shift in history. Thank you, I told her, for showing me the way home. Margaret smiled, really smiled. That's what conductors do. Final body cam entry. Subject descends into plot. Heart rate monitor shows sustained flatline. Recording ends 12:47 a.m. The body cam was found 3 days later by groundskeepers, partially buried in loose soil at Millbrook Memorial Gardens. Metro Transit confirmed conductor Elliot Reagan died of cardiac arrest on December 19th. At 11:47 p.m., while operating the final train to Millbrook Station, his replacement reported strange occurrences during her first week. Footsteps in empty cars, announcements over the intercom when no one was in the booth, and a figure in a conductor's uniform walking the platform at Millbrook. But security cameras show empty platforms. Passengers on the 11:30 express now report seeing 2 figures. At Millbrook Station, a man and a woman in conductor's uniforms. They don't collect tickets. They help lost souls find their final destination. The question that investigators still can't answer, if Elliot died at 11:47 p.m., who was operating the train for the remaining 43 minutes until it reached Millbrook Station? And why do the security recordings from that night show an empty conductor's booth? With the controls moving by themselves? Have you ever felt like you're going through the same routine, day after day?